In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a testimonial loop grid just like this over here using Elementor. And just so you know that the loop grid is going to have everything literally dynamic on each specific card. For instance, this card over here has a dynamic widget over here that is representing 5 stars, and we also have the 5 stars as the stars themselves. By the way, this is a very unique feature with Elementor, because sometimes to do this in other page builders it's a bit complicated, but Elementor makes it so easy that we can make our stars dynamic. For instance, this is 5 stars, and where it is 3.5 stars, you see that actually only the 3.5 stars are marked and the other ones are unmarked. The same for this over here, which is 4.5, only 4.5 stars are marked in this case. Now, you don't have to do this manually because that is a lot of hard work. If you have to pull in like 30 testimonials, imagine if you have to build each card individually. In this video, I'll be showing you how to do it automatically using dynamic features. We will be using Elementor and we'll be using Jet Engine to pull in our dynamic content. So let's get started. To get started, I'm going to go back here in my dashboard and just to take you through which tools I am using and for what. So at the moment, I have Elementor and Elementor Pro. Of course, you should have Elementor Pro if you want to use dynamic features. And I also have Jet Engine. Now, Jet Engine is the plugin that enables me to add custom post types and custom fields within my WordPress website. And I'm able to use those custom fields and the custom post types to build up my content or to add content to my WordPress website. And then using Elementor, I'll be able to display that content on the front end of my website. At the moment, I have a custom post type called reviews. A post type is basically a data bank where you can add content to your WordPress website. For instance, we have a data bank called posts, which is a default post type in WordPress. And we have one called media. We have one for pages. And so that you know, we created one using Jet Engine called reviews. And here you are able to add reviews. And for instance, if I say add a new page, so in this case, it's calling it page, but it should be add a new review. And here we can add a title. So in our case, a title is the name of the person who wrote the review. The content is the review itself. And like you can see here in the settings, we have the rating. So someone can rate their review. For instance, if they gave us that a 3.5 reviews or 4-star review or 5-star review, all that you can select it over here, and then the country where they come from. So I specifically chose to add a country because we are building a travel site, and people who travel to different destinations, they can always come back and give us a review based on where they went. And this is the review. And these are the ratings. So let me just get back here into the reviews themselves. So we are going to open up one called Maria. Where is Maria? Maria is here. So Maria wrote us a review and gave us a rating of 5 stars. So Maria is over here, gave us a rating of 5 stars. That's where you see all the 5 stars are marked. And right over here, you can see that is their image of Maria. If I reduce that to maybe 4.5 star review, I would say save changes. And when I come here to the front end, I'm going to reload. You will see that now we have 4.5 star review from Maria. That now applies only to this specific review. But if you go ahead and make any change to any of the review that you added on the page, let me say Liam. But maybe let's say he came from Norway. So if I update, so we are looking up for Liam, and then here we reload. So we are going to see that where is Liam? Where is Liam? He's over here. He's now coming from Norway. Now that you've understood where this data is coming from in our WordPress website, remember I've said it's coming from a data bank called reviews. Now let's go ahead and build our testimonials loop grid. So the first thing we are going to do is to go back to the Elementor page builder and then go to the theme builder right over here, Elementor theme builder. And right over there, we are able to start building a loop. You see, we have what they call the loop item, and I'm going to say add a new loop item. So I'm going to call this testimonials. So they give me here some sample templates to use or to begin with. I'll close that simply. And I want to name this as testimonial loop. And most of the times when you are building a loop, you want to have a preview or a real-time preview of what you are building, or maybe you want to see that that content is showing up over here on the cards. So what we are going to do sometimes, or most times, I say I want to show a preview, and here the preview I want to pull in is the preview for the reviews. Remember, we have a post type called reviews. So I'm going to say apply. Now, when we are building, everything here is going to give us a preview of what we are doing. So first things first, we are going to add a container. So for instance, you see this is a container, in this case a card. It's going to be a container, and it's going to be just running in the vertical direction. And then we are going to start, we are going to give it a background and some border radius, style, background, color, white. And then we come here to border radius, we'll give it a 20. Now back here, we are going to add our elements into our page. But as you can see, I try to group these elements into several groups or different groups. So we have the first group, which is up here, and we have another group, and then we have another group right over here. So the first group is also in its own container. So I'll come over here to elements, pull up a container, add it over here. And in the first group, we have a heading widget, we have a star rating widget, and we have another heading widget. So we'll come over here to widgets, and we say we want a heading widget, and we'll duplicate this heading widget. So we have two, and then we have a star rating widget, which also comes from Elementor, and we want this to run in the horizontal direction. So select our heading widget. We want it to be a paragraph, not really a heading, but a paragraph for the HTML tag. And here we're going to change the color to text color. And now let's pull in our first dynamic content. Go to dynamic tag. And what do we want to pull in? We want to pull in something from Jet Engine. Scroll down here, custom field. What do we want? We want a rating. And now you're going to see that a figure is pulled in over here. That is 4.5 at the moment. We close that up. Come to the next one, which is also a heading widget. And this is going to be for our, this is actually, I have to mention, this is the only static value we have in this card. Everything else is dynamic apart from this value, because I didn't see a reason to create a custom field for this. So this is going to be 1.2k reviews, which is a static value, 1.2k reviews. And reviews is going to be, I think, in brackets. The entire text here is going to be in brackets. And we want this to be in a paragraph, and under style, we are going to give it our secondary color. So it looks like it's building up. We are now going to go to our star rating. We want this to be in the middle. So the heading widget, this is going to be basically rate, and this is star rating, and then this is going to be review, or review numbers. Now for our star rating widget, we are going to make it to pull in dynamically. First of all, we want to have the rating scale of 5, so it can also be 10, just like that. And then you have 10 stars over here, but we want a rating scale of 5 because our rating scale on our website is a maximum of 5. The question is, where does that come from? I'll go to the dashboard. And here we are. So when I come here to Jet Engine, you see I have what I call post types, or what Jet Engine calls post types. And we created 2 post types, the reviews and destinations. So we want to look at the reviews post types. And when I come over here to ratings, you see that we have a rating custom field, and we have a minimum value of 1. So someone can only give us a minimum rating of 1 star, and then a maximum value, which is 5, which is a maximum rating of 5 stars. And that's where this is coming from, and that's why we want to make the rating scale to be a maximum of 5. If someone is in the editor and they're adding these reviews, so when you come here to reviews, add a review, I'll open up just randomly anyone here. And when they are adding the reviews here, they cannot go beyond 5 because the reason is, like what I've already told you, the maximum rating is 5 stars. Here we are good now to pull in our reviews dynamically. So this is what I told you that Elementor does so well, because if you don't have Elementor and you want to do this, you may have to probably write some lines of code so that you are able to pull in these star reviews dynamically. And for some page builders, you can pull them in dynamically, but they will not be able to paint the stars based on the number of ratings, like 4.5, like 5. You will see in most cases, either all the stars are in full color or they don't have any color because they are failing to pull in the figures dynamically. Anyway, back here to the rating, we are going to pull in now our rating, our dynamic rating for the stars, and we are going to go down here to the Jet Engine custom field. We want to pull in a field called rating. And just like you see now, we have our 4.5 stars painted. And now what we need to do is come here to style. We want to set a color for the field stars, so which is the light accent, and for the unmarked stars, it's going to be our secondary color right over there. Just like you can see, our thing is building up quite neatly. I'm going to select this container. I'm going to remove all the padding, and I want that everything in this container is aligned at this end. So at the bottom, I would say, of the container. And now we are going to go back, and now we want to pull in some content here. So the question is, which widget do you use to pull in this content? There are two options. Jet Engine gives you the ability to pull in dynamic content using their dynamic widget, which is over here, dynamic field, and then dynamic meta as well. But we don't want to use this. We want to use, mostly, I try to most of the times use the Elementor dynamic features to pull in dynamic content into my website. Only when Elementor doesn't have such a feature, then I can use the third-party widgets to pull in dynamic feature. I'll first of all add a new container right over here. So this container, and I'll remove the padding and everything. And in this container, we are going to add a post content widget, which comes from Elementor, and automatically you see we have our post content showing up over there. This post content is for the latest review that was submitted in the pool on the WordPress website. And now we're going to add the other features or the other widgets. We want the image, the name, and we have the country. So in this case, we are going to come over here. We could use, let me say there's a widget called image box over here, but it's a bit limited on how I can align my content over here. So I decided to use the image widget, and then I used the heading widget, and then I used another heading widget to display the country. That is my preference. For you, it could be different. You could choose to use the image box widget. So I'll come over here, drop my image widget. But before I drop my image widget, I want to add another container, because this is another group where we want to add our content. So I'll come over here, grab a container, add it over here, remove all the padding. We don't need anything like that. So I'll drag my image widget, and then we want to add another widget, which is the heading, and another heading widget. So two heading widgets. Come over here, and then I'll duplicate this. Now we want this container to run in the horizontal direction, and we want these heading widgets to be actually paragraphs. We are only using them to display the name and the country. So I'll select my image widget, come here to the dynamic features, and I'll simply select the featured image for this post. I'll use the custom resolution, which is going to be 65 and 65 in our case. I'll come over here, Actually, I have to apply 65 and 65. Apply. Come to style. I'll give it a border radius of 50%. There we go. And then we are going to come over here to the border type. We give it a solid border, which is going to be 8 pixels. And that color for the border radius is going to be our global background, something like that. Now it looks like we are gaining shape. I don't know if I should make this 65 or 85 to make it a bit bigger. Yeah, that looks much better. Select our heading, come over here to the dynamic features or to the dynamic tags and scroll down below here. What do we need to pull in? We need to pull in the name of the author. So that is going to be actually a post title, which is that. Now we have a post title. Should be able to reflect immediately. Come to style, come to text color. So text color secondary, and then now let's go and pull in our dynamic content for the country. Come over here, select the heading widget, come to custom fields under Jet Engine. Right over there, select the country, and I think that's all for now. Yep, we're going to select our container and we want to align everything to be at the end. Actually not end, but center. Looks like the image is a bit bigger, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give custom width values for all the widgets in this container. So I'm going to select this, come to advanced width. I'm going to give it custom. I'll make it 20%. And then for the name, I'll make it to be a 35%, I should say, with custom 35%. And then the rest will be for the country in that case. So now, what do we have to do? The rest of the things that we have to do is to work on the styling of the container. From the look of things, we have to add a border radius to the main container. So select that container, actually not a border radius, but padding. So select the container under advanced padding. We'll give it a 30%. Or 30 pixels, not 30%. We want to align all the elements to be right in the center. And we want to reduce the spacing between the elements in this container. So that is going to be the gap. I will simply remove all the row gap. So I'll just make it 0 so we don't have any row gap between the elements. So what else can we work on from the look of things? I think it looks nice and neat for now. You can go ahead and work on the responsive settings under tablet and the mobile device and just make sure everything should be looking nice and neat, just like the way you want. Say publish, and that now will publish your loop grid. And now the next thing is to pull in this loop onto a page where our testimonials are going to be displayed after publishing it. So what we are going to do right now is to go to pages. So I'll just come over here to the finder and look up for pages. I'll give my page a name. I'll name this as our testimonials. And the page layout is going to be a full width or an Elementor canvas, depending on how you want to build it up. So right now we have our testimonials page, and now what we're going to do is to pull in our testimonials dynamically. How do we do that? We are going to come over here to the, we come to the widgets, and we're going to look up for the loop grid, which is this over here. Drag it into the page, and here we have to choose the post type template, which is going to be posts, and then we have to choose a template which we named as our how is it called? Testimonials. So it should be testimonials loop template, which we created earlier on. And here now we can choose how many columns do we want in our grid, but it should be able to pull in our testimonials automatically. However, right now we don't see those testimonials being pulled in, and the reason is why we have to query which content has to be pulled in. So we already said it's going to be a post, but we have to select a source and a query, and we're going to say reviews, and boom, here we are. Our reviews have been pulled in, the country is showing up, the content of the post is showing up. And lastly, in case the reviews are a bit like, jumbled up and they don't have an equal size, with the loop grid from Elementor, we are able to actually make that the layout is having an equal height. This is a good feature that Elementor added in the update of the loop grid. I love it, by the way. So here we are, we have our 6 cards that are showing up, and they're only 6 because we only have about 6 reviews or testimonials in our data bank over here in the post type. So we actually have 7 reviews. So the reason why we have only 6 showing up over here is because we specified that the items per page are going to be 6. But if we want to show the others, we can choose to set 10. In this case, let me set 10 items. It has now automatically populated, and you see we have the 7th review showing up over here. If you want to display pagination, you can come over here and then display pagination either using numbers, whether using previous and next, or on click or on infinite scroll, just the way you want. So that means that you'll have a page dedicated to only testimonials where your clients can go and read. And all these testimonials are actually built just the way you want. And why am I saying that? The reason is that if you use the testimonials widget that comes from Elementor, so here widget, we have testimonials. I think it is testimonial. So testimonial widget or the testimonial carousel or the reviews, you're not able to have all the custom data that we pulled in. For instance, the country. You cannot have that on the testimonial widget or the testimonial carousel. So that means you have to build it up yourself, just like the way we did using the custom post type and the custom field, and then we are able to build up a testimonial grid just like you see one over here. So once you are happy with what you did, just simply say publish. Now we are publishing this page, and if we go in the pages, we will see a new page called our testimonials pages, our testimonials showing up over here. If I say preview, and boom, here we are, our testimonials are showing up. Pretty nice and neat, and I'm so happy that we could build this together. You can see that the reviews are pulled in dynamically, and we have the half stars for those reviews that are not full reviews, and it looks nice and neat. But I also want to mention that you would make it that the testimonials are not manually entered by you in the back end of WordPress. In the reviews custom post type, you would do it that you use a front end submission form, and then you simply just send this front end submission form to the client, and then they fill in this form with the stars, they fill in the content, they can upload their image, and they submit this form. And in your end, you can set it that probably any submitted form for a review is saved as a draft, or you can make it to be automatically published. That means that whenever you receive an input or a submission from your client, a review will show up over here. So let me know down in the comments of this video if you want to see that video where we use a front-end submission form to populate our reviews page, just like you see over here. Give this video a like if you liked it, and see you in the next one.